Just about 24 minutes before the hour of 7 o'clock, welcome back to the Now Morning Show. Now, Harvard's club celebrates its 80th anniversary, and this morning we're joined by President of the club, Mr. Brian Lewis, to tell us how they expect to celebrate this milestone. Mr. Lewis, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us on Now.
Thank you for having us.
Now, I know it's a different iteration. You're sitting before me. I know we normally have you for the Olympic Committee, but I want to change gears to Harvard. First of all, congratulations on 80 years. But for us who don't know, tell us exactly who is Harvard's club?
Harvard Club started in 1943. Firstly, by a group of young men to play cricket. But over the years, the intention was never just about sport. It was about culture. Building good citizenship and shaping and transforming, at the beginning, men to be not just sporting stars and sport elite, but good citizens who will make an invaluable contribution to the society. So the club would have evolved over the years. It began the first club. It's a number of firsts. Harvard has been a pioneer in many things. The first club to own its own clubhouse, the first male-dominated club to include women membership, the first club to have a sporting clinics. The cricket notably started in 1965, football in 1976. Some of the notables that came out of the Harvard Clinic: Brian Lara, Shaka Hislop, Richard Thompson, J. Hugh Gordon, Stokely Mason, Otis Whitley, Zahir Ali, to name a few. The club is also the first club sport-oriented club to have a steel band, the Harvard Harps.
Nice.
To have had calypso competitions, men who could cook, or men, some say men who can't cook, but it evolved to men who could cook.
Of course, yes.
But above all, it has been an institution. In 2012, it got a national award, the Hummingbird Silver for community service. But above all, Harvard has produced leaders over the years.
Yeah. I like that you mentioned leaders over the years. I mean, how are you going to continue on that path, not just to shape sporting leaders, but also leaders of men and women in the society?
It is a challenge in the modern environment. The club, as we said earlier on, is 80 years. It has not been easy. The motto of the club, the Latin I will not butcher, but it means dignity in all things dignity. And that has been a culture of the club, one of its core values. So if you look at the modern iteration of Harvard, it has introduced rugby, ladies hockey, it has table tennis, basketball, cricket. We have an adult literacy class that, along with the altar that supports the move to literacy. We have a Tai Chi sessions for the aged. So what the younger members of the club get is an overall balance, that it's not just about sport, it's about giving back to society. Harvard now incorporates all walks of life in Trinidad and Tobago. So you have young people from different areas who have an experience and an example and are mentored in living a positive way. Young people get an option to see that education, building social and leadership skills, conflict resolution skills are all important.
So it really is all-encompassing, trying to build and mold.
And that has been an effort, and much credit must go to the pioneers, who over the years have remained committed to patriotism and volunteerism. There, as I said, many people. There are CEOs, there are former chief of defense staffs, there are former government ministers, senators, lawyers, all who contribute to mentoring young men and women now.
Well, let's switch gears to the celebration because it's 80, right? I mean, you would have mentioned the sort of pioneer and leadership role that the club has played, and now you've made it to 80 years. What plans do you have to celebrate such a milestone?
So there's a committee dealing with that, led by Mr. Ron Bartolo. It includes Joan Rampersad, Valentino Singh, Waz Hossain, Mr. Prasad, and a number of others who have put together a program, and it's targeted. In October, for example, there is going to be, on the 13th of October, a cultural show, because Harvard has this tradition of calypso and calypso competition. On the 8th, there's going to be, just Sunday the 8th. I deliberately didn't mention, I said the 13th, but it's really Friday the 13th.
Okay. Because of, yes, the connotation, yeah.
The Sunday the 8th, it will have an open house and an IRO Thanksgiving service at the Harvard Club, which is located at 106 Dragreet Road. For those who may not know, opposite One Woodbrook Place, right at the junction there from Serpentine Road to the Western Main Road, and where you have the statue of Kitchener on the Harvard Triangle. But the real event is on the 9th of December, which is the grand 80th anniversary dinner. It will be held at the Harvard Club by choice. Options were considered for a bigger space, but we know that it will have a lot of demand given the fact of the history of Harvard. But a deliberate choice has been made for emotional, historical, and cultural reasons to have the dinner at the Harvard Club.
The events that you're having, are any of them free? Do you have to pay?
All the events are free, of course, with the exception of the grand dinner, which will have a nominal contribution of $250 TT. But it's likely to be oversubscribed because, as I said, this Harvard Club cannot hold 50 tables by 8. So that's going to be interesting. But at the end of the year, there's going to be a whole series of activities coming up to raise awareness, because we within Harvard believe firmly that Harvard is an institution, and the role that Harvard plays is so important now in 2023, given the challenge Trinidad and Tobago faces with crime, gun violence, and in particular, issues with the young men in particular. And as I said, we focus a lot on allowing and training young men and women to interrelate positively, constructively, and to help build those relationships. As I said, in terms of, we talk about things like domestic violence, alcohol and drug use, and as I said, the molding of young people in relationship with older people, because as I said, the club is very diverse. That has always been a challenge in our society, even now. But Harvard has always been built on, as I said, dignity in all things dignity. And as someone was telling me just yesterday at the Independence Day brunch, after listening to the Harvard Harps with the young people, a lot of young people, and they were commenting about the COVID-19 and all the challenges that Harvard would have faced over the last 80 years, they said it this way: resilience is Harvard's brilliance. And that is a value and an attribute we try to instill in young people in particular, in terms of the club's overall vision of transforming young lives for the better.
Well, Mr. Lewis, I mean, before you go, you mentioned that it's all encompassing, right? So you're helping the young people and you're helping to keep them away from certain negative factors. Of course, the age people too. But I say young people only because is there a membership form? If somebody's listening right now and they say, maybe Harvard might be a place for me, how can they get more information? Any numbers you want to share, anything like that?
The numbers in the modern time landlines, but as I said, the Harvard Club is located. It can't be missed. You can walk into the club anytime once you have good intentions, and you will be given a form, you will give me information. Kim is the go-to person at the club, Kim Gooden Mohammed, and the club is usually open from 9 to about 6 for administration, and then the club is always available for social interactions.
Of course.
Thereafter.
And anybody who wants to get more info about the dinner, they can go in as well, or is there a social media page that they can visit?
And then we'll be publicizing, but certainly feel free to visit Harvard Club. You can't miss it right there at the junction, opposite
Right opposite
Woodwood Place.
Yes.
As I said, you can come in once you have good intentions, and there will be somebody there at all times in the office to provide all the necessary information.
Of course. Well, Mr. Lewis, always a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Again, congratulations to you and the members of the club who are doing the work, and congratulations for reaching 80 years. We look to see what the next 80 years, of course,
Thank you
is
very
going to
much.
bring.
I appreciate the opportunity.
And then, of course, Mr. Brian Lewis, the president of Harvard Club, just sharing about the plans for the Milestone and how maybe you can be a member of the club. You're on the Now Morning Show. We're going to take a break and be right back. Stay with us.